Hey, what's up everybody, this is Fl4k, and today I want to start making some builds for Borderlands 3, because if you don't know, you can actually go on the official Borderlands 3 website and actually go into all the talent trees and set up talent trees with whatever builds you want to on every single character. Now, take into consideration that I have not played the game yet. We have no idea what good weapons are going to be. We have no idea how everything's going to be balanced once the game comes out, even though it's probably already balanced because it comes out so soon. But we don't know all that type of stuff. You don't know what kind of weapons you're actually going to be getting as you level up, since you're going to be changing gear so much. So I wanted to do at least a build for every person that kind of just focuses on one specific thing, whether it be a damage build or a tank build or like a pet build for flak or something like that, that's kind of more generic, that's going to work basically with everything, that's not going to be super specialized into needing some specific weapon or some specific elements or something like that. And this first one I want to go over is flak, because I think I'm probably going to be playing flak as my first character, and this is going to basically just be a straight up damage based build, mostly focused on getting as much damage for yourself as you can, even though a lot of the stuff also helps your pets. So the ability we're going to be going is, I actually don't know the names of these skill trees. Okay, so this is master actually. So I'm going to be in the master skill tree and getting the master ability or action skill. Now for some of the stuff, you do have two action skill augments you can choose and put in, which are down here. Now you have to have that action skill to actually get those, so I can't get any of these augments because I'm not using this action skill or anything like that. You can choose whichever pet you want actually, and these ones are like upgraded pets if you get down to that skill tree. But we're going to be starting with the master skill tree. That's the main one we're going into, and we're going to be maxing out ferocity. Now I wouldn't necessarily max it out, but you kind of need it to get down to these later ones. So you're going to be maxing that out, which is just 50% pet damage increase, which is still going to give you a lot of extra damage, even though this build is more focused on your own damage instead of your pets. You do need this, and that's still a lot of damage increase. Then we have 3/3 on persistent hunter, or persistence hunter I guess, increases flak's gun damage and action skill duration. So it's just a flat 12% gun damage increase and action skill duration plus 45%. So pretty good all around. The action skill, we should actually go over the action skill probably first. But the action skill was flak creates a rift at a target location, teleporting their pet through the rift and dealing radiation damage to nearby enemies. So basically just create a rift and at a target location, as how I'm understanding this, and your pet, no matter where it is, it'll teleport at that rift. So it'll basically pop out of that rift and it'll deal radiation damage to nearby enemies. Then additionally, if flak's pet becomes irradiated, growing in size and dealing bonus radiation damage when it attacks. Using gamma burst while flak's pet is downed or dead will revive your pet to full, or not to full, it'll just revive your pet so it's actually alive again, to 30% HP, and will double, but that will double the action skill cooldown. So baseline, the cooldown is 30 seconds. If you revive your pet with it, it's 60 seconds, and the skill duration is 20 seconds. So it lasts quite a bit, even though it's going to be much longer, especially with Persistence Hunter. So it's going to be a lot longer than 20 seconds. Basically, what just with this, the only thing that actually keeps happening is your pet does radiation damage and gets bigger for the entire duration. The damage, I don't think really matters what's shown on here, because it'll get augmented with other stuff. Then we have 1 into go for the eyes. This helps get down lower, and I want to go in this just because it activates this. So basically, when your pet attacks an enemy, the first melee attack is an automatic crit that deals increased damage. So just putting 1 into this makes the first time your pet attacks something automatically crit, which is already just a pretty big damage increase in itself. And then it gets 15% critical hit damage increase, which is already really good. So I just want to put 1 into that because I'm focusing, as I said, more on my own damage, but that still increases the pet's damage quite a bit and gets us to where we need to be, lower in the skill tree. So next we want 5 out of 5 in Frenzy, which is Hunter skill. When flak's pet deals damage, Flak and their pet gain a stack of frenzy. Each stack of frenzy increases damage. The stack decays after a few seconds. So it says a few seconds. I'm assuming that's like 2 or 3 seconds probably that the stack stays. But every time your pet attacks, it's going to keep this stack going, I would assume. I would assume even when you get to max, it's going to keep it going when your pet's attacking. But it's 4% damage per stack. Max stack is 10. So if your pet has this max stack, say you're on a boss and your pet isn't dying or anything, it's staying alive, you're getting a 40%, if it's max out, 40% damage increase just continuously, which is absolutely massive. And you're pretty much going to always have some amount of stacks active with this. And if your pet's able to keep attacking stuff, it's going to just keep, those stacks going. So it's going to be a really big damage increase, especially on longer fights. Your pet can stay alive. Now I got this one, even though it really doesn't give you any damage increase, this is still a pretty good ability. And for one, it helps us get down to this one right here. We needed the 1 extra, so it does help us get down, and it's pretty strong just for a 1 point. So it is Psycho, head on a stick, Hunter's kill skill. Whenever Flak kills an enemy, their pet gains increased movement speed and damage for a few seconds. So last 8 seconds, your pet gives 12% move speed and 10% pet damage. Now this also does help with the move speed. It does help with keeping these stacks active. It gives your pet damage increase as well. And it was overall just probably one of the best things I could get for just having a damage increase for 1 point. Also, we can go into our skill augments, or our action skill augments now. So I chose these two, which is basically the only kind of damage increasing ones. Now this one, while Gamma Burst is active, Flak's pet is surrounded by radiation, are constantly dealing damage to normal enemies, and baseline is 4 damage per second. Now Gamma Blast is just the ability, so for however long it's active, which is going to be, I don't know what, over 20 seconds, probably up to 30 some seconds, something around that area. It's going to be radiating and dealing damage all around it, 4 damage per second. Scaled with whatever you have to scale it more. So that'll be a good amount of damage. I'm also wondering if that counts in the frenzy. I'm assuming that does not count, and that doesn't count as an attack because it's a radiation aura, but we'll have to test that one game. I'm pretty much assuming that's not going to work, but that's just more damage. For the duration of Gamma Burst, damage dealt by Flak is increased by 20%. So whenever this is active, which I'm actually wondering, I'm not exactly certain if activating Gamma Burst instantly puts it on cooldown, or if it goes on cooldown after the ability, after Gamma Burst is over. I'm not exactly certain on that. Either way, you're going to be getting a 20% damage increase when it's active, and it's going to be active for much longer because of Persistence Hunter. So overall, we're going to be getting a pretty big damage increase for quite a long time after activating our ability. We're going to have radiating damage everywhere. So our ability is just going to be crazy damage whenever we pop it off. So next, we also have a Barbaric Yop. I guess that's how you pronounce it. Increases the power of pet bonuses granted to Flak by 100% total. So I'm not exactly certain how this is going to work. So I'm pretty certain this should probably work at least with this. So this is the actual pet we're going to be using. This is an upgraded version. So the pet in this skill tree actually gives a damage increase, but when we get this one, it gives 5% damage and 5% fire rate. Now you can choose either of these upgraded pets, because one gives 10% damage, gun damage, instead of fire rate. But I like this one because when Flak issues an attack command with this skag, it actually pulls everything in, generating a singularity. I like that more. Either of these are going to be good, and if you want more gun damage, you can switch to this one, or if you want the more fire rate, you could switch to this one. They're pretty much both going to be really good, and I know that this will be increased by 100%. And I'm wondering if it's just that, because it really doesn't it's not explained that much what exactly pet bonuses are. I'm assuming it's going to be everything that the pet does to give you any stats, but even if it's just this, it's going to be a really big increase, because 100% on 5% for attack speed and damage is already going to be really good. So no matter what it actually entails with this, it's going to be a really big increase to your damage just off that one. So for our last thing, it's going to be pack tactics. All damage dealt by flak and their pet is increased. Additionally, the maximum health of both flak and their pet is increased. So it's 50% maximum health and 50% damage increase. We're mainly wanting this for the just 15% damage increase just forever. So that is pretty good. And that is everything for this skill tree. Now for the hunter skill tree, we went quite a bit into this. So first off, we have interplanetary stalker. So hunter kill skill. Whenever flak kills an enemy, they gain a stack of interplanetary stalker. For each stack of IS, that's much easier to say, they gain a bonus to all damage out. Additionally, they gain a unique stacking bonus depending on the type of enemy killed. Each unique bonus gets stacked up to 3 times. Each stack decays after a short duration. So this one's kind of weird. Or I guess it's not weird. It's just really strong. So just for the top, which is the interplanetary stalker, for killing something, you get 10% damage increase per stack. Now I'm assuming that also stacks up 3 times, because it does say that these other bonuses which you get for killing certain things stacks up to 3 times. But I'm not exactly certain if that means the interplanetary stalker also stacks up 3 times. If it doesn't, this thing is absolutely insane, probably overpowered. If it does just only stack up to 3 times on just straight damage increase as well, it's still really good. So it's 10% damage per stack. It lasts for a few seconds. After a short time, I'm assuming probably like 2-3 seconds or something. If you kill humans, this is one of the unique stacks. You get 50% action skill damage per stack. So that's up to 3 stacks. And that's one of the unique bonuses. The robot bonus is 7.5% corrosive damage per stack, up to 3 times. And beast bonus is 7% movement speed per stack, up to 3 stacks. Now, I'm not exactly certain, like I said, if the just straight damage increase stacks up to 3. But overall, either way, this is pretty crazy, especially if you're killing a lot of things. If there's a ton of, easier to kill enemies around, you're just going to be getting so much damage increase. It's going to be ridiculous. So next we have Hunter's Eye. Flak gains a bonus when fighting different types of enemies. So this is 50% critical hit damage versus humans, 30% armor damage versus robots, which is pretty crazy, and then damage reduction versus beasts. So you take less damage when you're against beasts. Now you also, if you actually want to, you could switch and go ambush predator, which would give you 4% damage per stack, 5 stacks, or per point, 5 points total. Then handling plus 17%, which is actually pretty good. If you're having an issue with handling, I would definitely switch over to this. But this one, I think overall is going to give more consistent damage increases. But this one definitely is still going to be good. Still going to give you that critical damage, which is still going to be some damage increase and really crazy handling increase if you need that. And next we have Two Fang, which this seems insane. This honestly seems like you absolutely need this in every single build. Flak has a chance to fire an additional projectile per shot. 25% chance on that. I'm pretty sure this could be anything. This could be rockets. This could be, grenade launcher or whatever. So if you're, say you're firing like a super fast machine gun, you're just going to be getting extra shots every 4th bullet, basically. So this is going to be a ridiculous damage increase. This thing seems so incredibly strong that it seems like no matter what build you're using, you're pretty much going to want to use this, because it's just projectile. That's pretty much anything that shoots out of a gun. I'm actually wondering if, say if you like if there's any guns you could shoot out, like the little guns with legs or turrets. I'm wondering if any of those would work. I know most of those are reloading. When you reload, then it throws one out. But I'm wondering if there's any of those that would work like that. You just shoot out one bullet and get like 2 like little turrets on the ground or something. But this is absolutely insane. So next we have the points we have in the Stalker Tree. So first we have Ferocious Attack. Hunters go after shooting an enemy. Flak gains a stack of Furious Attack. For each stack of Furious Attack, Flak's gun handling and gun damage are increased. Stack decays after a few seconds. Now, take into consideration, this is just shooting something. This is not killing anything. So this is pretty crazy. So wait, does it? For each stack, this doesn't actually say, okay, 10 stacks. I should have read the bottom first. So this is 10 stacks. It gives 4.8% handling per stack, up to 48% weapon handling. Pretty crazy. If you need more handling with this, as I was talking about, get that other, get the handling off this with 17 times 5 plus 48% if you're max stacked on this. Also, if you're using a high fire rate weapon, this is going to be ridiculously easy to stay up pretty much for as long as you're fighting something. This is going to be absolutely crazy handling. Your weapons are just going to be super easy to handle. It gives 2% gun damage per stack, so that's 20% weapon damage with this max stacked. 10 stacks, 4-second duration. Now I'm wondering, because of how it says this, it says stacks decay after a few seconds. I'm wondering if this means that say you shoot somebody, even if you keep getting more stacks, that first stack will go away in 4 seconds, or if it's just say you have 5 stacks and you shoot one enemy, then you get your 6 stacks, so the duration resets. I'm wondering if that means the duration on the whole stack resets, or if it's you'll keep losing them. One stack only stays for 4 seconds no matter what. Either way, this is still a really good ability for damage increase and weapon handling. It's pretty insane, especially when you just have to shoot things. So it's super easy to keep up either way. And then right here, we have overclocked. Flak gains increased fire rate. Flak gains even more fire rate after reloading. So this is just a baseline 10% fire rate increase, which is 10% in and of itself. It's pretty crazy. Then you get fire rate after reloading for another 10% after you reload everything, and that lasts for 4 seconds. On a lot of weapons, on some weapons at least, you could probably keep this up for most of the time. And that's just some ridiculous fire rate mixed with Furious Attack. You're going to have that up all of the time. Where is another attack speed increase? I think I have one somewhere. Is it in here somewhere? And especially with the extra projectiles, I'm wondering if those, I'm pretty sure those should actually work. Well, with all of that, I think this is going to be, even though it's not very specialized, I think this is probably going to be one of the highest damage builds. Just as kind of a default damage build, not having to have any specific weapons or anything like that. I think fast shooting weapons are probably going to make better use of this build, but pretty much everything's going to be good with it. So yeah, like the video if you like it. Leave a comment down below what you think about this build, who you're going to be playing first when Borderlands 3 comes out, what type of build you're going to be going for with them, and thanks for watching.